well as Temple meets Pennsylvania live from the Palestra. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another season of Big Five basketball exclusively on Prism. I'm Larry Rosen with Eddie Stefanski. A lot of newness in the air tonight. Fran Dunphy making his Big Five debut as the new coach of Pennsylvania. You know Franny a long time. What's it like for him?
Well, a local high school player, Malvern, a player at LaSalle, been an assistant for 18 years, so it's a great story for other assistants out there to strive for it. He's a very disciplined man, and his team will be disciplined.
In fact, he says when Steve Fisher led Michigan to the national championship, that helped him get this job. Franny's going to need some help from some low post people against a tall team like Temple. A guy named Vince Curran really stepped forward in the opener against Lehigh, set a school record for offensive boards.
Well, Vince Curran from St. Joseph Prep in Philadelphia did a terrific job. He just plays extremely hard. He's an overachiever, 6'7", and he'll have to achieve tonight against these 7-footers.
Yeah, those 7-footers include the heralded debut of Donald Hodge, one of the 3 Proposition 48 players who sat out a year ago, 7 feet, first team McDonald's All-American a couple of years ago. He is a true low post standout.
Well, he's going to be one of the best players in Big Five history before he leaves here. The kid has great hands. He catches the ball. He can shoot it from 12 feet. He goes to the boards all the time. He'll be a great compliment to Dwayne Coswell this year.
And the one problem really the Temple has is the lack of a true point guard. Mark Macon is going to kind of run the show. It's his basketball for Mark, I guess.
Well, who cares about the point guard when you have Mark Macon? He can do it all. He dribbles extremely well. He shoots the ball, and he can break someone down one-on-one. It's all over if Penn gets one-on-one on Mark Macon.
It's Big Five time. You ready?
Well, I'm ready for it.
Big Five City Series action coming up. Penn and Temple live at the Palestra in just a moment.
Big Five basketball on Prism.
To Big Five City Series basketball once again, everybody at the Palestra. Larry Rosen, Ed Stefanski, Fran Dunphy, his debut, the only doubleheader of the year at the Palestra. St. Joe will meet Drexel in a couple of hours. We'll have that for you as well, of course. But for Fran Dunphy, he's good to know that he's got the one game under his belt against Lehigh before he faces a nationally ranked Temple team.
Well, the one game, he got a W, and that's all that counted. They didn't play real well in the second half. They missed a lot of one-on-ones down the stretch. They executed. They just couldn't put the ball in the basket. But this is a completely different test against Temple. You talk about teams trying to limit the team to one shot. I'm thinking about trying to limit the Temple to 2 shots because they may get 3, 4, and 5. That's how good they are rebounding the basketball.
And let's go down to John McAdams, the thinner John McAdams, for tonight's introductions of our starting lineups.
Pennsylvania presents a Philadelphia Big Five City Series game featuring the Temple University Owls and the University of Pennsylvania Quakers. Let's meet the starting lineups. First, for the Temple University Owls, at a forward position, a freshman, 6 feet, 9 inches tall from Atlanta, Georgia, number 13, Mark Strickland. At the other forward, a freshman, 7 feet tall from Washington, D.C., number 35, Donald Hodge. At the center spot, a junior, also 7 feet tall from Queens, New York, number 31, Dwayne Coswell. At the guards, a sophomore, 6 feet, 8 inches tall from Philadelphia, number 15, Mick Kilgore. And at the other guard, a junior, 6 feet, 5 inches tall from Saginaw, Michigan, number 12, Mark Macon. The head coach of the Temple University Owls in his 8th season is John Chaney. The assistant coaches, Jim Maloney, Dean DeMobilis. And for the University of Pennsylvania Quakers, at a forward position, a junior, 6 feet, 7 inches tall from Villanova, Pennsylvania, number 00, Vince Curran. At the other forward, a junior, 6 feet, 4 inches tall from West Haven, Connecticut, number 34, Paul McMahon. At the center spot, a junior, 6 feet, 7 inches tall from Virginia Beach, Virginia, number 52, Ray Marshall. At the guards, a sophomore, 5 feet, 10 inches tall from Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, number 14, Paul Chambers. And at the other guard, a senior, 6 feet, 6 inches tall from Los Angeles, California, number 23, Jerry Simon. The head coach of the Pennsylvania Pennsylvania Quakers in his first season is Fran Dunphy. The assistant coach is George Boston, Fran O'Hanlon, and Neil Jackson. The officials for this evening's game, Ed Badagowski, along with Jerry Donaghy and John Cahill.
And again, our referees, Ed Badagowski, John Cahill, and Jerry Donaghy, the veteran. Pennsylvania missing Tyrone Gilliam's prolific scorer out of Camden, New Jersey, has a congenital kidney problem that's been diagnosed, but as of now, no surgery. Also missing forward Scott Shadeway, who's in street clothes with shin splints. Dave Watts has a ligament problem in his ankle. He may not go. And he's looking against an NBA-sized team for Fran Dunphy to face an aggregate 24 inches height difference in the 5 positions, Eddie.
Well, 3 possible starters for the Quakers are out, but let's see if Penn can give them a game. I'm sure they're going to hustle around, but it's very difficult to beat this Temple team.
And we'll see what the ring rust is like for Hodge and Strickland. We'll see Chris Lovelace, another 6'11" in a moment. And the tap is knocked by Temple University over the sidelines, and here comes Pennsylvania. Now, Paul Chambers, the point guard, came as a walk-on, and as all of a sudden the starter is expected to go 40 minutes, was on the JV a year ago with Jerry Simon, the scorer. And here's the offensive set.
The problem is getting the jumper from the outside, because inside you really can't go into 6'7" guys when you have 7-footers covering them.
They extend the defense out, so Karen is alone from 12. No roll. Hodge's first rebound.
And it may be one and done all night, Larry.
Only Owls above the rim. Man-to-man, a little bit of a matchup as Karen's not playing anybody. Hodge, the double team arrives, and a walk, no a foul.
Well, what Penn's strategy is early, when the ball goes inside, the off guard, and in this case, number 14, Paul Chambers, dump down and double team. As the ball goes inside to the postman, Penn is going to double team, give the jumper. They got to give something up.
Non-shooting foul. And the trigger comes from Kilgore to Coswell. And there's Mark Strickland on the perimeter playing the 3 spot at 6'9" tall.
You got to go to Coswell right away and get him in the game. He's being covered by a 6'7" man.
Hodge working hard, and a foul will be called on Ray Marshall, backing in with Donald Hodge.
Well, Marshall's trying to use his strength. Again, he's giving 4 to 5 inches away, and he's pushing Hodge from behind. Let's see. He's using the body. Not much there. They're calling it very tight early.
Again, that is Strickland who accepts. Makin's in the corner. John Chaney loves to get his big people involved early on, especially in this, the debut for Donald Hodge.
The Quakers change up into a 3-2 zone. Again, they should dump it in.
There's Makin. Off the heel, Strickland got it. Mark Strickland, the medium-range jump shooter out of Atlanta, Georgia, has our first points of the season.
And that's the problem, second shots, but it was a long rebound. Penn did a pretty good job boxing out. But Temple's doing a good job bringing the zone out. They're not going to let Penn just have the ball and take some time off the clock. They're going to extend that zone.
Good interior work, but nothing to do once you get it for Marshall. And Mark Makin, a wraparound foul. Eddie, a kid like Strickland, Hodge, these kids haven't played in over a year. The adrenaline must really be pumping.
Oh, yeah, the first game, again, and a good crowd here in the Palestra. They're pumped up. They'll get into the flow of the game because John Chaney dictates that style of play.
Nick Kilgore extends the top of the defense off almost to half court. McMahon from the corner, short. One and done, as Eddie has said, for Donald Hodge.
Penn's got to play the perfect game in order to stay with Temple, and they got to knock down that jump shot.
Off the ball foul called on Donald Hodge, setting a screen for a pop out. Now it's on Mark Strickland. 1-3. So Strickland picks up the personal.
Well, John Cahill, the official, he's taking control. I think he's made all 3 calls, and he's calling it real tight. This is a big 5 game, John. Let him go.
He's an ECAC and an Ivy League official, not used to seeing so many 7-footers. That's Jerry Simon, the lone outside threat. The kick is from McMahon on the opposite corner, gets the roll.
And no streamers anymore. They're outlawed, but Penn finally gets on the scoreboard 2-2.
Yeah, I miss those streamers. I don't know about you. They didn't hurt anybody, except when they landed on us. Strickland from the corner. Line drive, rims out. Defensive board for Simon, and the Quakers look to run.
Good move by Jerry Simon to push it up, but then Temple did a good job getting back on transition, bring it back out, and run that 45-second clock down.
Jerry Simon, the only 3-point threat on the squad. And a high post run by Vince Curran with his back to the basket, not looking to do much with it once he gets it.
Well, the tough part is Kilgore's 6'8", for the folks out there. This is a tough passing angle. You got a 6'9" guy on one wing and 2 7-footers behind.
Good ball swing, Simon, 12-feeder in your face. 2-on-1, Kilgore and Macon. Kilgore will take Chambers from 12.
Good court awareness by Kilgore. He pushed it, but under control. Did not over-penetrate. Stop at 15-foot bang. 4-2 Temple.
Eddie, it's a little bit like what an NBA team would look like if they were allowed to play a straight zone like this, you know? With the wing extension.
Penn has to just be very patient, bring it out. Hope that Temple overplays and try to kick it out right there. But you can't penetrate and take the jumper.
Simon for 2, foot on the line. And we are tied at 4, and some pressure being shown. And this could be where the Owls are somewhat vulnerable.
But the Owls usually don't try to attack the pressure.
Steal, McMahon, layup, as Donald Hodge didn't see the blind side. So a turnover and a bucket. Hodge again. Macon breaks his eyes on the rim all the way up the floor. That's a shooter, Eddie.
And that's what you got to do. Temple has to attack. Not just try to get the ball up, hit it to Macon. When you have Macon coming down, you got the big guy Coswell there. That's a tough 2-on-1 to defense.
Goodness, he keeps his head high on the dribble. Eyes on the rim. It is tied at 6 through 4 minutes. Simon looks at Coswell, double pump, nothing. 3-on-1 for Macon, his head up again. Off the hands of Mick Kilgore.
That's going to be Temple's ball underneath, but there's no way Jerry Simon, number 23 for Penn, can penetrate in against Coswell. He's going to knock it out all night long. He's the second leading shot blocker in the country last year.
That's long from Kilgore. And good box out by the Quakers. You're smaller, you got to box out. Simon's got plenty of time to load. Jerry Simon got 25 shots against Lehigh, made just 8 of them.
Now right there, a nice transition. They didn't have the fast break, but they pushed it up, wheeled it around, and got the jump shot.
The Owls break the press with good patience and look at a 3-2. Hodge, low. Oh, Ray Marshall looked like he had the top of the basketball, but a foul will be called on Ray as Hassan Duncan strips the warm-ups, as does Michael Harden.
They got Vince Curran on it from behind. Ray Marshall didn't foul him. They got Curran, but it was an easy entry pass. The guy, again, Hodge did the mistake by bringing the ball down.
There's Hassan Duncan, who's had a bad flu bug and has taken anti-inflammatories for some knee problems, is playing as a 6th man. Lehigh, the first time in 52 games as a college player, he didn't start. And now he's got Coswell's jump hook. Good box out on Hodge by Curran. So Simon's in the open floor. The in and out Simons. Good ball swing.
Well, that was excellent movement on the ball, as Vince Curran made a wise decision not to turn and try to go for the basket. He knocked it back. Once you get the ball inside, Temple collapsed, and they got the jumper from the outside.
Low post entry, Macon gives and gets. Defensive board Simon, foul Donald Hodge. And Fran Dunphy shows his first emotion. Yeah, we're in this.
Well, if you're Fran Dunphy and you're the Penn faithful, you can't be any happier than what Penn is showing. They're just out hustling Temple right now, and they're being more aggressive than Temple. Temple's first game, maybe they're a little tight, but they got to go out and play a little bit harder. I don't care who they're playing.
Well, John Chaney has lifted Mark Strickland for Michael Harden, which changes the complexion. Brings in a 6-footer for a 6'9" to get that extra ball handler in against the pressure. And Michael very quick on the perimeter. High-low set, Curran high, Duncan low.
See, Temple's not coming out. I would come out and defend those passes.
Simon double pumps off the heel. And that's Dwayne Coswell's rebound. Here's Michael Harden, the only true point guard on the roster. And Macon swings to the off position, foul by Chambers, his second.
And that's really a problem for Penn because they don't have another point guard really in the program to play. And if he gets in foul trouble, it's a long night.
So the opening battle belongs to Pennsylvania. They're up by 10-6, 6 minutes plus into the first half of the first game of the City Series 1989-90. Palestra. Pennsylvania, the early lead as Temple getting their sea legs in the early going.
And here's where Jerry Simon has to dump it back out to the off guard. He can't over-penetrate because Coswell's going to put it back in his face. Good ball movement, as we say. Kilgore just stops and takes the jumper. The man, 6'8", sophomore from West Philly. He can just flat out play.
Larry Rosen, Ed Stefanski, happy you're with us. And if you're a new Prism subscriber, this is Big 5 basketball. And Paul Chambers will likely come on out for little freshman guard Steve Wade. No, they're not going to let him on. The ball had already been handed to Mick Kilgore, so Wade will have to wait. Interesting story out of Fork Union Military Academy. And we'll see him in a moment. And Fran Dunphy sweating bullets to make sure Chambers doesn't wind up with foul number 3. Michael Harden accepts. Harden, Macon, Kilgore, Coswell, and Hodge. There's Wayne. That's money. That's what the pro scouts like to see. He's listed as a junior by the Temple people. But unless something changes with Prop 48, he's coming out this year.
Well, Haslem Duncan's just playing behind him. I don't know how. If you front him, they throw over top. But you can't let him get the ball that close to the basket. He's going to have a lot of points this evening.
Now here's an overload set. 4 men on the strong side. They swing it all the way over to Jerry Simon.
Defensive pressure's picked up a little bit for Temple. I think they should contest the passes from the guards. If it goes inside to the Penn players, I don't think they can score against Hodge and Coswell.
They haven't looked to, have they? They've just been kicking back out.
Well, when the ball goes down low, Temple's zones collapse. I don't think the outside guy should collapse on the basketball inside.
Shot clock's in single digits. Simon will fire. Big by Jerry Simon. And he's got 7 early points.
And that's the problem. Temple's zone, the ball's going inside, Temple's collapsing, and they're letting the shooters from the outside shoot the basketball. But this is the best Penn shot the ball, too. They don't have the outside shooters. They're hitting them. It's Big 5 game.
Coswell on an easy entry. Uses Macon. Good box out by Vince Curran, who had 18 rebounds against Lehigh Saturday night.
He used all 250 pounds there, Vince Curran.
Why not, Jerry? 10 points for Simon.
There must be some ghost in the rafters, because there's no chance Penn hangs in here, and we've gone almost 8 minutes, and Penn has an 8-point lead.
Donald Hodge banging down low in the double low post set. Michael Harden, top of the key. The outside is standing around thinking it's going to come to them. No, Macon's going to take it to the hole.
If you're Fran Dunphy, you can't be real happy when you're in a zone and a man just drives all the way baseline. But again, the man's Mark Macon, and he makes a strong move past Haslem Duncan.
Simon and McMahon combined for the 11 of the 12 shots that Pennsylvania's taken. They've got 16 points, so that's where the offense is coming from. All on the perimeter. There's McMahon in the corner. Again, Chambers is waiting to be picked up by Steve Wade. McMahon had a foul called on Donald Hodge, and that's an awful foul, 18, 19 feet out, to get Hodge his second.
John Chaney's just looking on. I'm sure he's not real happy, but Hodge has to get over the top. He just pushes out Vince Curran there. Not a smart move by the young man from Washington, D.C.
And John is leaving him in the floor with his 2 personal fouls. Now Ernest Pollard pops off. Here comes Ernie Pollard. The junior forward out of Roman Catholic High School will pick up Donald Hodge, who did not score in his first 8 minutes, but does have 3 rebounds to lead everybody. And into the game comes Steve Wade, the freshman guard we mentioned out of Fork Union Military Academy.
I would say he's a little bit nervous right now. He shouldn't shoot the ball. Just get a handle for it, Steve, because it's a big-time game.
Well, that's a tough pass for Hassan to handle. And now he's looking up at Mark Macon, pushes at Mark, and the whistle comes. Likely that'll be against Steve Wade to send Macon to the foul line. Well, they give it to Hassan, and Chambers comes back in for Wade. So Wade just gets a taste.
But you're right, that pass from Jerry Simon into Duncan, where is he going to go? Even if Duncan catches the ball, who cares? He's 16 feet from the basket. Tough pass, and Temple's so quick, Mark Macon just picks it up.
Mark Macon on many preseason first-team All-America squads, despite having what many thought was a subpar year a year ago, but he was really going it alone with Dwayne Coswell, triple teamed so often. John Chaney says his biggest year of growth as Fran Dunphy sees his team up by 4, 9 minutes in to his Big 5 debut. now sitting 2-3. And good patience by Pennsylvania.
See, Vince Kern's just catching. He's looking to dump it right back out. He's not going to go inside against the Giants. Now, they're not as tall now. 6'8" Kilgore, 7-foot Coswell, and 6'7" let's Ernest Howard in the back.
McMahon's open. Paul McMahon for 3.
For the Temple people out there, Penn's not this good of a shooting team. Again, they're just shooting the lights out right now, and Temple zone's not out that far.
Macon tries to answer well off target. Jerry Simon has open floor. Smartly pulls it out. I think that's the first three-pointer of Paul McMahon's career.
Now Chambers back in the lineup. Coach Dunphy for Penn is taking a calculated risk here with 2 fouls on his point guard.
There's a whistle and a kickball. By the way, McMahon did have 1 three-pointer in his freshman year, so it's his first since December of 1987.
And on the kick there, the 45-second clock is reset on the kick.
And on block shots.
Right, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, which they've got to change.
You penalize good defense on that play.
Pennsylvania 8 out of 13 from the field through the first 10 minutes. The Owls matching up now and looking to double team on the side court. Michael Harden keeps it free, and that'll be an over and back violation on the Quakers.
I was waiting for John Chaney. It's 10 minutes into the half when he was going to extend his zone, and I think he's got to come out and take all the passing angles away from the Quakers. Can't let him sit out there and shoot jumpers.
Easy entry for Coswell, who kicks it back out. Kilgore, again, 2-man game Coswell. Hassan bodies him up, gets the foul.
Yeah, right there. Hassan Duncan is not going to block Coswell's shot. Just has to keep his hand straight up. Watch him as he hits him on the elbow. He's crowding him. He gets him right on the elbow. And it's a good play by Dwayne Coswell, but not a good defensive play by Duncan.
So Ray Marshall now will return for Hassan Duncan. We've yet to see Sean Deneen, who sat out last year, most of last year, with a herniated disc in his back. He is another forecourt performer, and he's only going to get limited minutes. See if they get to go to Sean.
It's really sad. The kid wants to play basketball, but you or I wouldn't even attempt to play. It hurts him so bad, but he goes out there and gives it all he can, but he's not real flexible with that bad back.
Coswell makes the first, and Dane Watts, we were talking to Dane, he had never missed a game at any time in his life up to the time that he got this little ligament problem, hopefully little ligament problem in his ankle, but he is dressed. Scott Shaway is not. There's Coswell, one of the most prolific shot blockers in the nation. Makes 1 out of 2, and the Quakers will lead by 6. And do they begin to get some confidence, Eddie?
Well, I think it's a little too early in the game to get confidence, but they didn't get blown out. A lot of Big 5 games over the years, they've gotten blown out early. So they've stayed with them, so there is some confidence, but it's way too early.
Good penetration. Chambers the dish, McMahon. And oh, Michael Harden goes flying.
Paul Chambers, great penetration here. And it was a wise move. Watch as he splits the double team here. Right now he says, uh-oh, I'm 5'8", I better not. Passes to McMahon. McMahon, good ball fake, and Harden goes almost over top. But there's an athletic move. He catches himself.
Yeah. You usually worry about the guy that lands, but look at the kick to the head. Boom. Worry about the guy that took the hit, McMahon.
Now in the NBA, that would have been 2 shots, right?
Non-shooting foul here. 5 team fouls on Temple, 6 on Pennsylvania. Inside of 9 minutes to go first half. Pennsylvania on top by 6. McMahon might have got away with a carry. Throws one well short. The flat-footed rebound is Coswell's.
Now that's where McMahon got out of sync, out of control. He doesn't need a one-on-one shot by him.
Mark Macon.
And Mark Macon answers right away. That's a big turnaround there as Macon hits the 3.
And the defense had to commit to Big Kilgore, and no one there to pick up Mark Macon.
No, Penn cannot make mistakes at all or take bad shots or rush shots. They got to milk down this 45-second clock and try to get the jumper.
Ray Marshall pops out as a release valve, and Dwayne Coswell comes with him. Cross court against the zone, and McMahon is long, and Ray Marshall picks up foul number 2. So Marshall, Duncan, and Chambers all with 2. And that should be 1-on-1 for Dwayne Coswell.
Well, Penn's trying to be scrappy there, but Ray Marshall hustling, but Coswell, 7-footer, has the rebound clearly, and he still fouls him. He's got to go away and get back on defense. And there's the assistant, Fran, the former Villanova great, is trying to tell Ray Marshall, listen, once he has the rebound secured, you got to get back on defense.
Interesting, Freddie O'Hanlon, an 8th-round pick of the Philadelphia 76ers back in 1971. The other assistant, Gordon Austin, also an 8th-round pick of the 76ers, but 12 years later. Coswell misses. Onto the floor now, we see Sean Deneen, number 32, and Brendan Wooten. Or is that Ken Graff? I'm sorry, that's Kenny Graff, number 3.
He's a shooter.
Guard.
He has a great stroke on the ball. Let's see if he gets a shot up here.
What a small team on the floor. Coswell does not buy any kind of pump fake. Here's Macon, 4-on-3. Has Kilgore's corner. Inside look, Coswell. And Sean Deneen took it out of his hands.
Well, they let it go there, and Coswell might have got bumped, but I'm sure Chaney's not happy. He was saying you should take Deneen into the basket with you and dunk it.
And Coswell's feeling for his lower back as that got turned around a little bit. Looking to set something up for the current 12-footer. Nobody near him, and Vince Curran's got his first 2.
Well, Chaney's saying now, Vince Curran's going to hit 16-footers on me. That's not in the scouting report. Vince Curran's a great horse player after practice, but he's not a great shooter in the game. Now he's making them. 21-16, the Quakers over the Owls.
Macon will do it himself. For 3, Mark Macon now leads all scorers with 12.
And as we said, that's the calculated risk Fran Dunphy, the coach of Penn's going to take, is let the outside guys beat them, not the inside players of Temple.
Good hustle by Chambers to maintain his dribble and find Jerry Simon and reset the floor. Michael Harden snapping his fingers, thought he had a steal. Karen rolls through the high post. Deneen is now 15 feet out looking. And here's a steal by Michael Harden. It took a couple, and Chambers has to let him go with the 2 fouls. And we noted, or did not notice, that John Connick has checked in for Temple, number 22 at 6'5". Another interesting story, the same high school as Mark Macon and Sean Randolph from Buena Vista High School in Saginaw, Michigan. We'll tell you more about John a little bit later on.
Now they're contesting the passes. Macon and Harden have moved out defensively, making it a little bit tougher for the Quakers to make their passes.
And Simon's got to get some offense. Mark Macon will reach in foul. The 6th on the Owls, the 2nd on Mark Macon. John Connick, as we look at Fran Dunphy, was ruled ineligible for this season for not making 700 on his boards. In going back over the records, they found that he had over 700 when he took the English from one test and the math from the retest, which you're allowed to do under rules. He did miss 3 weeks of practice, but here he is playing for the Temple Owls in the opener.
Well, there's not many people that would get in college if you didn't add both of them up. I'd have been in big trouble.
Here's Jerry Simon. Misses the first. Jerry, a prolific high school scorer, averaged 35 points a game as his high school team out in Los Angeles at Marshall High copped the state championship 4 years ago. But here he misses a pair of foul shots. The Owls come down the floor looking to take the lead. That's Connick with the ball, number 22. Why not? Paul Chambers, the heel rebound, as Simon cracking. Reach in by Macon, recovered by Curran, throws it wild. And Kilgore head and shoulders above the rest.
Well, they fast break there. Pretty good shot by Vince Curran, but one shot and they're done as Caldwell just brings it down.
Macon from the baseline, airballs it from 9 feet out. He'll hear that. And Jerry Simon slapped from behind by Mike.
Well, there's the thing. Jerry Simon's played a very good first half, but where's he going? He's over-penetrating. Got to slow it down.
We have a pair of 21s on the board. The Pennsylvania Quakers, the Temple Owls, kicking off Big 5 basketball for 89-90. The great taste of Bud Light. You got to make the best call of the night. Ask for a Bud Light because everything else is just a light. We played 15 minutes of basketball, even Steven at the Palestra.
Well, here's where Ken Graff makes the errant pass cross court. The Cardinals sin in basketball. Harden with the good quickness, he anticipates the pass and gets the easy 2.
Now, Michael Hardin shot very poorly in his first year of college basketball after sitting out a year, but that was the one area he excelled with the quick hands.
That's what Temple needs. We talked before the game. The point guard is the crisis area for Temple. Who's going to step up? Is Hardin going to do it? Can Mick Kilgore do it in the back? They need someone to come up because they have to complement Macon.
And there's Dwayne Coswell as Mark Strickland will check back into the basketball game. We'll reset the floor with Strickland, Kilgore, Macon, Hardin, and Coswell for the Owls. Chambers, McMahon, Sean Deneen, Vince Curran, and Jerry Simon for Fran Dunphy's Pennsylvania Quakers.
Now, what's the matter with Strickland? The referee's coming down to John Chaney to talk to him something about Strickland.
He did not check in with the official scorers table. He's shaking a head no. And they want to know if he had reported to the scorers table in time. He did not. John Chaney, directly in front of us, is saying he was standing right here. And Jerry Donahue, the most experienced referee, will take charge of this. And John can't believe it. John is saying, we can read his lips, you got 50 people sitting down front. Where do you want the kid to go? It's his first time in the building, and he's got a good point.
Well, John hasn't shown much emotion all night. They might have let a sleeping dog lie. Now they got him pumped up, and he gets pumped up. His kid's going to get pumped up.
Sure.
Probably Franny Duffy said, let the kid in, will you?
It'll be John Connick back in the ball game with this time Strickland officially reporting to the scorers table. There's really no place to sit. Everybody used to sit on that first step waiting to come in.
It's a shame.
Covered.
Yeah. There's so many people around you don't know where to check. And here goes Chambers for three.
Off the front. Good keep alive by Curran. And Kilgore will be called for the walk. That is turnover number 3 on the Owls. Both teams with a surprisingly low 3 turnover total. As now Connick will sit down and welcome back Mark Strickland.
Well, Vince Curran, as we said, 250 pounds at 6'7". He's quite a package, and he's using that 250 all on Coswell, laying the meat right on him.
And Chambers showing great patience. Fran Dunphy calling for a little bit of emotion. And here comes the motion. Jerry Simon will swing across to the opposite baseline. And now pop to the top of the key and accept the basketball. This is Simon off the dribble. Off the heel. Gets his own board. Blocked by Mick Kilgore. Recovered Dwayne Coswell.
Again, Jerry Simon hustling, but he's been blocked 3 or 4 times going to the basket. He is over-penetrating.
Macon off the dribble. And that's a long whistle. Called up Paul McMahon.
That you don't foul the jump shooter like that. Mark Macon was clear up in the air. McMahon just put his hand in there and tried to get his vision away. It was an automatic foul. You got to let Macon just take it there.
That's McMahon's first. He's got 9 points already. Mark Macon leading all scorers with 8 dozen.
Now Temple, as usual, take all their players off the foul line. They have a lot of confidence in Macon making it. They don't want to get in foul trouble, but if Macon misses it, it's a Penn rebound.
This is the first. Mark only the 3rd player in Temple history to cross the 1,000-point plateau as a sophomore. Name the other 2.
Are you asking me or the Prism crowd?
The Owl without a vowel.
Milkfeed.
And that little left-handed guard.
Blackwell.
No, Guy Rogers back in the mid-50s.
You're dating yourself.
He actually hit his last shot in the Big 5 the day that I was born, or relatively close to that day. The Big 5 was born about the same year as me, I think. Here's McMahon, who was hot early. Chambers and Simon. Again, a little bit of penetration, but he pulls up and takes a medium jumper.
He's making very good penetration. He's splitting, what they would say, splitting the seam and getting a 15-footer at the elbow, and that's a good shot. When he over-penetrates, it's when it comes right back in his face.
Henry takes the lead. Simon with a dozen. And Fran Dunphy's charges look well-schooled.
Oh, it's a perfect score for them, too, to keep it down low. They don't want to get in a running match with Temple. Boswell's getting a little upset inside here.
Kilgore, blocking foul called. Sean Deneen.
That was a better tackle than a lot of Penn football players put on people all year long. As Deneen, no finesse here, just rips Kilgore in there. He took the baseline away, and he took Kilgore away, too.
Hassan Duncan comes back in for Sean Deneen, who gives it what he's got, no question of that.
And what Penn's doing, they're using Deneen, Marshall, Hassan Duncan, as you see him in the screen. They're just going to beat up on Temple. They got 15 fouls. They're going to use them all. They don't have a great chance to win this game anyway, so why not go in there and play their hearts out? And that's what they've done for the first 17 minutes.
But that is part of an anatomy of an upset, is using all your fouls and getting missed one-and-ones like that one by Nick Kilgore.
What Penn is doing real well, too, is on the boards. They're not getting murdered. Before the game, I thought they'd get murdered on both the offense and defensive glass, and Temple's not just rebounding the ball, or Penn's doing a good job.
Again, Donald Hodge, not much of a factor in his debut. Hassan Duncan, not afraid, gets the roll.
No way. That was not a great shot. He got the roll. Again, someone upstairs in the rafters guided that basketball down in the hoop.
Pennsylvania right around 50% for the half and a 3-point lead. Off the hands of Mark Macon, off the knee of Mark Macon. Turnover Temple.
Now, if I sound surprised, I am. There's no way I thought it would be 25-22 with 2 minutes and 22 seconds to go in this game. Halftime.
Well, you know that they've got to get a ton of points from the perimeter, from McMahon and from Simon, and they have 21 of their 25 points from those two people.
See, Mark Macon should go out and put some pressure on the basketball. They're sitting back there in that zone.
He's got 2 fouls, though.
He's got 2. Well, Harden's sitting back there, too, and they're letting Penn just pass the ball perimeter-wise, and there's the jump shot.
That's Strickland's rebound. And a weak pass still will belong to Pennsylvania.
Great hustle by McMahon trying to get it. What Penn's also trying to do, instead of Temple trying to fast break, don't go for the point guard, Macon or Harden. When Temple gets a rebound, try to deny that pass, make Temple walk the ball up the basketball floor.
And it looks like a box and one on Mark Macon, although it looks like it could be a bit more of a triangle, or they're just matching up with the guard.
Yeah, they're just matching up, and they're not playing the big men at the post. It looks like it's man-to-man.
And Curran's just ignoring Strickland, so the screen comes from Macon over Duncan. Kilgore, the offensive putback.
Good aggressive rebound by Mick Kilgore. Again, we said he's 6'8", offside rebound, and puts it back in.
The Owls in a straight 2-3. Duncan at the high post.
When you're running down the half and you played such a good first half, the Quakers, they have to be patient, run that 45-second clock. Don't let Temple get a run here late in the first half.
Passing angles through the first half. Like that one to Curran. Throws it up wild. Duncan misses. Curran the tap. McMahon's got the basketball. Now it's Duncan. Off a foot, off a leg. It's Temple basketball.
Terrific action in there. What's happening is Penn is just out-hustling the taller Temple to the basketball. They're beating him up to the boards, and that man is not happy right now. There's no way they should get 3-4 shots at the basket.
Again, as you mentioned, no one playing straight-up defense on Coswell or on Strickland, so they become screeners for Mark Macon. Kilgore now has Coswell in his spot. Double team. Will look for the jumper. 5 feet out, misses it. Gets his board. Throws it wild. Strickland.
And as we talked about, you got to hold them 1-2 shots. There they get 3 shots, and Strickland gets his 4th point. 25 seconds left in the half.
And Pennsylvania can hold for one. Their crowd rises up. The Penn faithful on their feet. Great first half of action. Glad you're with us. We'll count it down for you. Single digits. Chambers gets stuck. Will throw it up. And got it down at the buzzer. And the Pennsylvania Quakers will leave the floor with a 1-point lead over the 15th ranked Temple Owls. A great moment for Fran Dunphy and the Pennsylvania Quakers as they lead by a 27-26 score here at the end of the first half. Ed Stefanski is set to speak with the coach, Fran Dunphy, across from us. I know Fran has got to be excited. Let's go. Franny, of course, very happy to be leaving the floor with a lead over the Temple Owls, 27-26. And yeah, kind of surprised. Of course, every year we begin our Big Five coverage with our annual look a preview, if you will, of all the 5 teams in the Big 5. We can do something a little bit different this season. Because it's a doubleheader, we've expanded it and split it in half. Our preview of Game 1 involves the Pennsylvania Quakers and the Temple Owls. Let's check out the Big 5 or 89-90 in our annual preview of Big 5 basketball. Pervasive images as the 90s beckon. A tearing down for a turnabout. And moving up and moving out. An eagerly awaited first chance. And keep the music slow for this last dance. A return to the run for the ultimate prize. Talent and speed, no shortage of size. 5 brand new chapters, a host of new names. Hardwood happenings, they still play the games.
Good job, Jeff.
Yeah, here we go, good.
That's hard right. Power layup.
He was, it seems, born to coach. A 1970 LaSalle graduate, Fran Dunphy began his coaching career only a few months thereafter. 18 years later, he was named at last a Division I head coach.
There are a number of guys who go through their whole careers and work very hard as assistant coaches. I don't think that they're paid their just due most times. So it's almost, for me, accepting this job on their behalf as well.
Dunphy says the success of Steve Fisher at Michigan, who succeeded Bill Frieder during the NCAA tournament and led the Wolverines to a title, was a dominant factor in his hiring, and he carries the torch for longtime assistants around the country. His first edition has backcourt experience and frontcourt bulk. Senior Tyrone Gilliams, though, missed much of the preseason with a kidney ailment, and his absence has created an offensive void. Shooting guard senior Jerry Simon becomes the primary outside threat. Sophomore point guard Paul Chambers opened his Pennsylvania career on the junior varsity, but Dunphy has decided this Episcopal Academy graduate will run the show. In the forecourt, Sean Deneen returns after missing last season with a back injury, and heavyweights Ray Marshall and Vince Curran provide the bulk. But the enigma remains Hassan Duncombe, a gifted athlete capable of attaining All-Ivy status. Hassan has been relegated to the 6-man role after an up and down preseason.
He's a delightful person to hang around with. I'm not sure I want that for those 2 hours that he's on the basketball court. I want him to be less than delightful. I want him to be committed and energetic and up to the task of defeating the opponent, which is what this thing is all about for that 2-hour period of time. And then after that, by all means, go back to being the best possible human being you can be, and he does a great job with that.
While the coach focuses on his players, he too has found the spotlight. Dunphy has played and coached at LaSalle, earned a master's degree from Villanova, and now coaches at Pennsylvania. And he's part of that unique brotherhood of Big 5 head coaches.
So the relationship for me has gone on for a long time, and when I first got the job, they all responded quickly and made me feel real good about the whole process. And you know, I think there is a fraternity, yet there is a strong competitiveness when those games start.
There is a basketball axiom that states you can't teach tall, and this year John Chaney won't have to. 7-footer Donald Hodge is one of 4 new faces in the Owls front court who stand over 6 feet 9 inches tall. Size, depth, and talent. What remains is the need for chemistry. Donald Hodge, first-team high school All-American. He sat out last year due to Proposition 48 and is still wiping away the rust. He's an instant starter, along with 6' 9" Mark Strickland, an NBA-sized small forward who also sat out a year ago. In his 3rd and final season for Temple, pure post player Dwayne Coswell is welcoming the reinforcements. Last year, his first as a starter, Coswell finished 2nd in the nation in block shots. In the backcourt, the 1988 Public League Player of the Year, sophomore Mick Kilgore, has grown to 6'8". He started all 30 games as a freshman and had stretches of brilliance. He hopes to improve his overall ball handling skills and improve on his sub 40% field goal percentage. But the centerpiece is the newly crowned captain, junior All-American Mark Macon.
Mark Macon will be the player that we're looking for to handle the basketball. So if 5 people want to go out and play him, then we just teach Mark to pass it to somebody else who's wide open for a layup. That's all we'll do.
Macon up quickly.
After being named a first-team All-American in his freshman year, Macon slumped, the subject of perpetual double and triple teaming. But Chaney says last year was a season of great growth for Macon and insists that Macon is the very best guard in the land. Neither Macon nor Kilgore possess classic Temple point guard skills. Control, tempo, and the elimination of turnovers have always been paramount on North Broad Street. Chaney says Macon can provide whatever's required.
He's the captain of his ball club. He talks to his players. He sits them down on the floor. He stops practice. He brings them over when he sees something wrong. He pushes and pulls them. He tells them where to go here, where this guy to back up here. He directs them. And I have every bit of confidence because he's learned this program so well. Not that he's not going to make mistakes on the basketball court, because he's carrying with him some baggage. But the fact of the matter is that between his 2 ears, you're not going to find him hanging from a rafter somewhere committing suicide anywhere over anybody else's morality. Not at all, because he is a strength unto himself. Most amazing youngster that I've been around in my life.
At halftime, surprise indeed. As you look behind us, you see a guy by the name of Howard Evans in that pink shirt. There's Howard. Temple could use that man, Howard Evans, a classic collegiate point guard, now a year removed from the program. And the Owls could certainly use him. That seems to be where the problem lies. The Owls have had a lack of rhythm and flow.
Well, I think John Chaney may be right. They're not playing very well right now. They have the players, the talent's there, but they are getting out hustled to the basketball. They're not into the flow of the game. I'm sure at halftime he'll make some adjustments and come out, but there's no way. One stat, 18 rebounds for Temple, 17 for Penn. No way Temple should only have 1 more rebound.
No way. There will be some blistering ears as we come out. We'll see if there's any fire coming out of the ears of the Temple people. We'll go back, look at the key moments from that first half. The Owls, of course, have the dominator inside in Dwayne Coswell, and he kickstarts this one.
Well, Simon over-penetrates Coswell, and that's the way to start the fast break if you can get the block. And he did a nice job blocking to Kilgore. Again, as we said, Kilgore under control, and he can shoot the 15-footer.
And the only Temple Owl really doing anything offensively is Mark Macon, who's got 13 first-half points.
And Penn's going to give something up, but it's tough to give that outside jumper to Macon, and he can can him from three-point land.
As noted, there are your first-half statistics. Look at the very bottom. The heralded debut of Donald Hodge. Hodge is scoreless through the first half. Michael Harden with a bucket. 4 for Kilgore, 3 for Coswell, 4 for Mark Strickland. Meantime, on the other end, the perimeter offense has been kicking for Fran Dunphy's Quakers.
Well, Penn's game plan was to try to get it inside and then pump it to the outside. A good penetration there, and Simon set to take the jumper, and that's the only way they have a chance to beat the Temple Owls is hit that outside shot.
And nothing like an answered prayer at the first half buzzer. Chambers gets himself in trouble and gets it home.
The kid is an overachiever. Macon had good defense, but the clock was running out and he knocks it down.
And there you'll see they're the only 2 points of the first half for Chambers. Jerry Simon led them all with 12. McMahon had 9, most from the perimeter, and 2 apiece for Curran, Duncan, and Chambers. So here we stand at halftime with a 1-point Pennsylvania lead. They shot at 12 for 29 and even 41%, but surprisingly, Eddie, 5 more opportunities for Pennsylvania than for the Owls.
Exactly, and I'm sure Chaney's very upset about there. They're not getting that second shot. They're not a great outside shooting team, so they have to get the second shot. But what's surprising, 41-41. It's not like Penn is shooting the basketball extremely well, 70-75%, and they have a 1-point lead.
All right, everybody, go out, get your friends, tell them Big 5 is on, and the Quakers lead the Owls. The second half is coming up.
I still don't think you can believe until there's about 10 minutes on the clock. I was thinking the second half here, Penn's got to come out and play like every 2 to 4 minute little games. Try to stay there. If they can knock it down in the 10-minute mark, and Fran Dunphy has his team in range with 10 minutes or less in the game, then they got a shot. So the beginning of this second half is going to be key because you know Temple's going to come out with fire in their eyes.
Pressure from Temple?
I haven't seen pressure from Temple in a lot of years. John Chaney doesn't believe in it, but I think he's not going to sit in that zone very long. I think he may have to go a little man-to-man, maybe to get the kids into the game.
Or perhaps some half-court trapping defense with John has shown the 1-3-1 extended.
Right, he's shown the 1-3-1 in his 2 exhibition games, which is really tough to make passes with the big guys. So I'm surprised he hasn't shown that here in the first half. But again, there's something in that mind. John Chaney's won 78% of his basketball games.
Indeed he has. He's won 397 games in his career. Temple University, the 5th most winningest team of the decade of the 80s. They've won 74% of their games in this decade. Fran Dunphy's undefeated, so what does he know? There's Franny drawing it up.
He said that first game, I said, congratulations, great win. He said, yeah, and he said, I was so nervous out there, and just like the first game for everybody, he was nervous, and maybe we put a little nervousness on Temple. These kids have sat out with the Prop 48, Hodge and Strickland. Maybe they're a little rusty and not into it, but let's see what happens early in the second half.
We'll set the floor as we begin half number 2 with Kilgore, Strickland, Hodge, Coswell, and Macon for the Temple Owls. McMahon, Simon, Chambers, Curran, and they fake him out on the wrong basket. How do you like that? Donald Hodge breaks down, and in 3 seconds they take the lead, and here comes full court trap.
And I think this is a good move by John Chaney. He's got to get his players into it. See if Penn can't just stand out there and keep the ball. They're not real good ball handlers.
Good job to find Jerry Simon. He has to double clutch and get a foul on a Dwayne Coswell. First one on the big fella.
And Jerry Simon created that foul right there. He's been blocked 3 or 4 times by Coswell, but what he did is he put his body and moved his elbows out and drew the foul. Good move by Jerry Simon. And how about that easy 2 points?
I haven't seen that. I've done college basketball 6-7 years now. I've never seen that.
I don't know if Penn was lined up for a center jump, it looked like, or what, but they were not on the ball.
They're just facing the wrong direction. And that's Donald Hodge's first 2 points of his college career, and they will not come any easier. Simon for the tie.
And Penn's going to show a little pressure here. I don't think they just want to slow Temple down. They don't want to try to steal the ball or have Temple start running, but take some time off the clock. He'll blow by people here.
That was Mark Macon. Entry Coswell, triple team. Bodies flying, missed 5-footer.
And right there, Donald Hodge was too far underneath the basket. He's got to block out a Penn Quaker and try to get it. The ball bounced over his head. Now let's see if they're man-to-man. They're still in the zone, but they're extended a little bit.
Fran's going to take the air out a little bit if he can. It's McMahon ranging on the baseline. There he is. Chambers has a screen, gets caught in the air. Good look for McMahon, but he's long. And Strickland, the uncontested weak side rebound. To the running Mark Macon, head high. Stutter step 12-footer. Mark Macon.
Well, that's just a great player going one-on-one. He knew he had him all the way. A little stutter step, as Larry said. Nice quick dribble and the shot.
Quakers can't hurry. Down by a bucket. Look inside. Beautiful Chambers to Ray Marshall.
Wow, and a great bounce pass. The only kind of pass that would have made it right by his feet. And a good catch by Marshall to make the 2.
My goodness. Paul Chambers is eye-opening tonight as Michael Hardin shows up at the scorer's table.
He's proven a lot of people wrong. He was playing Penn football. He decided not to go out and play basketball. A lot of people question that decision, and he's had a great first half.
3-second violation, Dwayne Coswell. And Michael Hardin will come in for Mark Strickland. And that's Chaney's response to the Pennsylvania pressure. To add another man with what he calls transportation skills. Tied at 30.
Temple still trying to match up in the zone defense here.
With kind of a high-low look with the 2 7-footers. Coswell on the baseline. Hodge ranges to the corner. Tough pass. Out of bounds turnover. Chambers for Curran.
And Penn is completely different style. In their victory against Lehigh, they tried to push the ball. It was just a rat race up and down the floor. Tonight, they knew they couldn't do it against Temple, and they've shown a good job with patience.
Again, they will match up man-to-man with the guards and then double down inside as Hodge hits a 5-footer. He's finding it a little bit.
And what Donald Hodge did real well is kept it over his head, didn't bring it down for the smaller Quakers to try to take a swat at it.
Good spin by McMahon. A push from the rear. Out of either Michael Hardin or Donald Hodge. Caught on Hodge. Foul number 3 for Donald.
Now let's see what John Chaney does here. In the first half, he had 2 fouls. He took them out, and he sat the rest of the half. 3 fouls. He wants to stay in this game.
Donald Hodge, such a heralded recruit when he came in, and John Chaney's so concerned that the year off will provide nothing but damage to Donald. You know, they can't practice with their squads either. No structure or regiment for Donald. And he'll take a while to get his game legs.
Well, it's definitely hurt him, but they're going to come around with a few games. I'm sure with this kind of talent, they'll come around.
Curran in trouble. Has a bailout from Simon. Big shot, Jerry Simon. He's got 15 points in the basketball game. Was that a three-pointer steal? And the loose ball belongs to Donald Hodge. No, Mark Macon kicks it himself. Travels.
And you had about 3,000 Penn fans helping out the official with the traveling call on that play.
I'll never forget the first time Pennsylvania came to Temple and McGonigal, the Penn student body boycotted the game. They didn't show up, not liking the fact that games were moved from the Palestra, but they are here tonight and rising as one early on. A 1-point Pennsylvania lead. That was a three-pointer out of Jerry Simon, so he's got 16 and Penn's on top. High post is Marshall, pops out to help out. In and out with Jerry Simon, and he walked. And he knew it.
Again, Simon's having a big game. He's made some mistakes tonight, but he is taking it. He's not timid and not sitting back and saying, hey, these Temple players are great players. He's trying to take it to him. He did walk on that play.
Again, the Pennsylvania guards are following the Temple guards through and then doubling down on the big people. Offensive foul, no. Block foul called Ray Marshall as Mark Meekin threw it up wild over the right shoulder. And now Ray Marshall has 3 personal fouls.
It's a tough assignment for Jerry Simon to play him. You got to try to slow down that penetration. Mark Macon just blew by him. He gets that close to the basket, it's going to create a lot of problems for Penn's defense.
Non-shooting foul. Set out of bounds for Mark Macon's middle range jumper, front of the rim, back of the rim. Rebound in the hands of Vince Curran.
And all 4 Penn players did an excellent job blocking out the taller Temple players and got the easy rebound.
Strong side overload. Go ahead.
Now they've gone 4 minutes, and they still have the 1-point lead.
Jerry Simon takes an ill-advised three-pointer, but runs it down himself. As a shooter, when you shoot a 3, can you tell sometimes where it's going to miss? Because Jerry went right to the spot.
He knew which way that one was going off.
Sure did.
Fran Dunphy, the coach of Penn, also will have to use his timeouts. And anytime they get a run, Temple, he's going to have to use one.
Jerry Simon for 3. He's got 19. And Pennsylvania has more than survived the first 5 minutes. They have flourished. A 4-point Quaker lead. This is unbelievable. Mark Macon the runner. That was too easy out of Mark. He's got 17 in the ball game.
Well, Macon's doing it, but he's not getting any help from the other players. This year, they're better than last year, I thought, but no one's helping Macon in this first game. Another steal.
Does it all by himself off the glass. And it's back to being tied just that quickly. Mark Macon now accounting for well over 50% of Temple's offense. He's got 19 out of 36. Again, McMahon gets in trouble.
Now, McMahon cannot dribble like that. Where are you going with the dribble? Because the Temple players are so quick from behind, they almost got it. And Dunphy's trying to say, let's have control here. Here's a play. It's a lot of time, 14-41, but you got to get good shot because Temple gets the basketball back. They can take the lead.
Chambers a very settling influence over the Quaker squad in their first couple of basketball games.
I'm very impressed the way Chambers is playing. I didn't think he was this good of a point guard.
Why not Vince Curran? Line drives it down. Well, they got a good shot for you, Eddie.
Well, they got an excellent shot. Vince Curran took his time and made the play. They're putting the pressure on again.
Michael Harden, good job to split. Finds Mark Macon.
But you see there, it didn't hurt Penn because they did not attack and try to score. Good move by Kilgore.
Good read by Hodge to come up with the air ball from Kilgore, who will wind up with the bucket and one. Well, that was you can't teach tall right there.
No, and it was good hustle. Temple players got into it. Let's see what happens here. It goes off Hodge's hand. They just can't. Kilgore's there to get it. He brings it in, and woo, it's a tough call. Kilgore put his hand down. But what happened is Vince Curran had his hands extended. If Vince Curran didn't have his hands straight up or back, he would have got the offensive foul call.
Here's the 1988 Marquardt Award winner for the city of Philadelphia, Mick Kilgore, at 6'8". Still growing, John Chaney says. And Mick wants to be the point guard. A lot of poise. And the Owls have taken the lead. It is still a one-point basketball game, though. 6 minutes into half number 2. Coming back in a moment.
He and Fran would be two tough guard combination right now.
Remember that 23-1 LaSalle team that was ranked second in the nation back in '69. Larry Cannon, Ken Durrett, Bernie Williams. Donald Hodge from 14 off the elbow. Coswell alone at the top, has 4 men on him. Hodge good enough foul. A tough exchange for the Penn Quakers.
Well, Penn went boxing one on Macon in that play. Again, what I thought Temple was going to do early is just dominate the backboard, and they did right there. Not a real good shot by Coswell. There's Hodge to go right back up, and that's not a real good foul by Jerry Simon. You're going to foul the man as big as Hodge. You don't want to make him get the three-point shot.
There's Coswell. As Hodge is 3 for 3 now from the foul line, has 9 second-half points, so he's arrived, and the Owls have their longest lead at 44-40.
Dwayne Coswell came down and hurt his ankle a little bit there. Let's see if he can run around on defense.
Reach and foul Michael Harden. Only the third team foul for Temple and the second for Michael Harden.
But I think this defensive pressure as Temple's picking up is going to help them on the offensive end too, because I don't think Penn's going to handle the ball as well and get the clear, easy passing lanes. But they're going to sit back in the zone.
Just over 12 and a half minutes remaining at the Palestra. That's Jerry Simon. Shot clock's only been in single digits once all night. McMahon into the teeth. That'll be a goaltend on Donald Hodge. Score it, says Jerry Donahue.
Well, Hodge is playing him, but it's not his fault. McMahon goes right in there. There's Mick Kilgore. He's got to come and show himself and help out with the driving McMahon.
And a great Hassan Duncan screen kept Coswell out of the scene. 2-point ball game.
That's a wide screen.
Kilgore loads and fires. A rainbow. And the lead is 5.
And this is where with 11:49 left in the half, Penn's can't get away too far. Let Temple get away here. A 5-point lead could be big in this kind of game.
Chambers gets bailed out by McMahon. Inside, Duncan reverse. Coswell hit that one. Would have been a goaltend, but it went down.
Chambers got in a little bit of trouble there, but regrouped and made a nice pass. He's having a whale of a ball game, is Paul Chambers, from Episcopal High School in Philadelphia.
Coswell 2 feet away. Misses.
He got
Hodge
fouled.
off his hand. He sure did. And Coswell showing the frustration.
Well, Duncan came right down on his wrist.
But the Quakers are right there. Paul McMahon already a career high. Jerry Simon already with 19. Paul McMahon line drive air ball, but the rebound is knocked out of bounds by Jerry Simon. Belongs to the Temple Owls.
Right there, McMahon is having a good game, but you can't, he's full of himself right now. He's got that confidence, but you have to play within yourself and get the good open shot, not the driving kind of shot there.
Mick Kilgore on the perimeter with Michael Harden. Getting a lot of minutes as Michael is yet to shoot the basket.
They're giving it to him.
Why not? High arcing rainbow, no roll, but the rebound is Hodge. Hassan Duncan gets it off his hands.
The big guys are not getting off their feet and going to the basketball. Again, maybe give credit to Penn with Curran and Duncan using that weight and holding the guys on the floor.
And as you said, Fran Dunphy will wisely use his timeouts. Down by just 3 with the basketball halfway through the second half. We're coming back in a moment. At a party right, please use good sense when you drink and know when to say when. A reminder from your friends at Anheuser-Busch. And here's Paul McMahon finding Hassan Duncan, who uses the rim, Eddie.
Well, good penetration by McMahon. as, yes, he used the rim right there to block off Caldwell for the layup, but McMahon made the play by the bounce pass to Hassam Duncan. Good catch and layup.
And Freddie Dunphy uses that first timeout of the half. Has 4 remaining.
He's going to have to use all these timeouts in order just to stay with Temple now. It's 10:32. He's only down 3. They're right in the game.
There is Scott Shayway.
It looks like he's almost praying there.
Praying or doing the Heimlich hug. Again, Temple LaSalle will be coming up January the 3rd as we get a look at Speedy Morris's club. And they're off to a good start.
Coach Mars shooting those threes out there at Olney Avenue.
Lionel Simmons should be closing in on about 2,500 career points by the time we see him. Good double team on Simon, but he finds McMahon. And this time he does not take the ill-advised shot. He pulls it back out.
Well, Temple only is going to trap once there, and if they don't get it, they back into the zone.
Simon has time. It's short. Duncombe keeps it alive for Jerry Simon's little finger roll. Again, Duncombe. How do you like that?
Hassam Duncombe just staying on the board. Again, remember, Temple has 2 7-footers in there, and Penn gets 3 shots at the basket. 47, 46, and we're under 10.
Dwayne Coswell is 1 of 8 from the field goal department, being bodied by Vince Curran down low. And Mark Macon's been quiet in the Jerry Simon box and 1.
Jerry Simon's doing a good job. He's just denying him. He's not going to help his teammates. Just not letting Macon get the basketball.
And John does not like to force a box and 1 situation. He'd rather play 4-on-4 because it gets open shots like this one. You got to hit them. That'll be a foul called on Mark Macon. No, called on Dwayne Coswell, I believe. Yep, Dwayne Coswell on the push-off.
Well, I think Coswell's a little frustrated. Let's see. I don't know if we have it, but Curran must have did a good job blocking him out. He must just have thrown him away there. Vince Curran, as we said, using his weight.
You know, Pennsylvania's kept it rather simple. That'll be a foul. Michael Harding, the frustration showing. And Michael's got 3. Really, Pennsylvania's not done that many different things.
Well, they're just trying to keep the ball outside against the zone, make good movement outside. If they have the jumper, they're going to take it. They knock it inside, it's coming right back out. Again, Temple collapses when the ball's going inside. No reason to. Again, you teach to collapse, but not when you have guys going into 6-7 guys and you have 7-footers behind them. They're not going to get it. So that's what's happening. They're dumping it back out. That man's done a good job tonight. His players are prepared for the game.
Fran Dunphy reminding Cole Chambers about proper spacing for his players. Stay far enough apart to allow good passing lanes. Mark Macon stepping on Jerry Simon's foot. Jerry wanted to call on that, kind of an intention to keeping him from moving. Well, McMahon wants it far side, gets it, loads up, and looks for Hassan Duncan. Hassan's got to be rather fresh coming off the bench. There's McMahon. Can't go anywhere around Donald Hodge. As you said, it gets to that point, he may as well bring it back out front. Simon's got a little screen. Short. Offensive rebound, Curran. Fresh 45. And not a single Temple player has his hands up.
They're tired. They look tired. I don't know why. But you're right. The zone's just flat. And believe me, sometimes during the year, they take every passing angle away from you. They haven't done it this evening.
8:22 and counting, second half. 1-point basketball game. What a move. Chambers for Duncan, caught him by surprise. That'll be a tie-up. And the arrow faces Pennsylvania's way, I do believe. Yes, it does.
Getting a little hot around the collar for Fran Dunphy. He didn't think he'd be here. I mean, he may tell his team and everyone he'll be right in the game. But with 8-14 and down 1 against Temple, he's got to be very happy. Now he's tasting possibly an upset.
Randy in this racket 18 years before he got a chance to coach as a head coach, Division I. Hassan off the heel. Donald Hodge shows his skills, 3-on-1. These from Macon. Off balance. My goodness, you can't teach that.
I mean, that's a great shot by Macon off balance. But how about Donald Hodge? He's 7 foot, folks. Makes a nice bounce pass. Perfect as a guard. You'd say great play. He's a 7-foot center.
Hassan from the corner. Not that well-advised either.
No, that's a rush shot that they don't want. They were down 3. They've been taking good time off the 45-second clock.
offensive foul.
But where's Mick Kilgore going? I'm sure John Chaney saying we got the three-point advantage. You're going nowhere. He drives to the hole, over-penetrates, and knocks the Penn player down.
That is team foul number 6 on the Owls. First on Kilgore. Michael Harding getting surprising minutes. Not surprised he's getting minutes, but an awful lot of minutes as Mark Strickland has seen limited duty in his debut.
The Penn fans have not been in all night because I just think they don't want to get up because they don't think it's a chance. But right here, there you go, a one-point game. The Penn people are just sitting back in shock right now.
That was Paul McMahon, dribbles 30 feet across the lane, stops, does a 360, comes right back at him and throws it in with the right hand. He's 7 for 13, a career high 15 points. Michael Harding inside the three-point line. His first point in the second half.
That's what they're going to need. That's the best Temple's look really with the basketball. They dumped it inside. Harding stepped up for the two-pointer.
The Owls by 3. Each possession now begins to become critical with 6:50 and counting. Jerry Simon throws it back out front. Paul McMahon's becoming a bit of a go-to guy in this late going. Shot clock now in single digits. Chambers for 3. That would have brought rain down. Donald Hodge can't hang on. Another fresh one.
Did he try to dribble that back, or he looked like he kept trying to dribble instead of grabbing the rebound? Let's see if he tries to dribble the ball instead of just grabbing the rebound. There's the Chambers shot. The clock, 45-second clock, just hits. That just hit off his hand.
And we have a break in the action. As the Penn Quakers are right there, the Temple Owls have a 3-point lead. His club will come of age as it goes through the schedule. Still in the early going, but he knows a thoroughbred really in Donald Hodge, who does just what a perfect point guard would do in this situation, Eddie.
Well, Donald Hodge says, I don't get a chance to fast break like this. And look at him. He's looking around. Where's the defense? Where's everybody? Bounce pass, stops, perfect. And there's just an athletic move by Mark Macon.
Mark lost his right foot out from under him, still collected himself and threw it up off the glass. And coming up next, of course, the Drexel Dragons of the St. Joe Hawks. Game 2 of our only Palestra doubleheader, although we'll have 3 men's, women's doubleheaders as the season unfolds. Mark Zumoff joins Ed Stefanski for that one. That should be a good one as well. And this one better than anyone could have anticipated. Rolling down towards 6 minutes of play. The Owls a 3-point lead on the Quaker.
I don't know what you're surprised about, Larry. Haven't you seen a lot of Big 5 games over the past decade?
Oh, yeah.
This always happens.
Never forget the Penn-Villanova game a year ago. On these same hallowed hardwoods.
They're just playing a 3-man game outside. They want Temple to go chase a little bit, and they've had a little luck with penetration.
Shot clock is at 8. Chambers, crossover dribble to the foul line. Vince Curran's going to have to shoot it off balance, and it goes! Oh!
I told you, there's somebody up there. That's amazing. Hodge played great defense. Vince Curran's pump. 1-point Temple advantage.
The ghost of Bobby Morse, I think. Unbelievable.
Well, that got the Penn people up now.
And the bench is all standing as one for Pennsylvania. Michael Harding's 3, and they're giving it to him. And the Quakers a chance to take the lead inside 5 minutes at the Palestra.
They have confidence now.
That would have brought the house down. Still not that smart of a shot.
No, they haven't run like this clock down.
Donald Hodge, perfect.
Yeah, that's a good move. Donald Hodge put the ball, hard power dribble to get his shot off. Again, 7 foot and puts the ball on the floor.
That's a pro power forward move out of Donald Hodge, who now is in double figures with 11, all of them in half number 2.
4 timeouts for Penn. I think Dunphy's going to have to use them in this last 4:30 in the game.
Mark Megan all the way out on Jerry Simon. Somebody's got to help him out. It's Vince Curran.
You're open, Vince.
Don't shoot, buddy.
Man to man, or let's see.
Jerry Simon on the kick from Chambers. And Donald Hodge is fouled by Hassan Dunkel, and he'll go the other way.
Good shot. Good penetration by Chambers to dump off. Two big opportunities Penn's had, and Fran Dunphy, Simons missed both jumpers.
Well, that is team foul number 6 officially. Hassan now the only player with 4 personal fouls, and some pressure on the inbounds.
So they got to look up. Harden's wide open.
Macon through the legs twice.
That's just a good catch by Mark Macon.
He wants it back, too.
Short.
Keeps it alive, though, and it's Vince Curran throwing some wicked elbows.
I don't know if that's a good shot by Mark Macon right there. He hasn't faked the jumper and made the hard move, which he can to the basket. Big rebounds, you said, by Vince Curran. 3:40 left.
Macon now 8 for 17 from the floor. Chambers has a half a step on Harden. Curran fading, firing. Hassan keeps it alive. There's Mark Macon's basketball. And a whistle because of a wet spot and an ice cube on the floor. That's good wetness to pick an ice cube out 60 feet away.
Again, Penn has got a lot of confidence right now, but they're rushing the shot. What they've done real well is wired down that 45-second clock. Right there, they rushed it.
And look at this. Both coaches had their hands up for the timeout. And Fran Dunphy says, why is it mine? John wanted one too. And it will be officially a Pennsylvania timeout. That was very interesting for a couple of moments. So, with 3:27 remaining, Pennsylvania forced to use one of its timeouts. We're coming back in just a moment. The way the coach diagrammed it on the blackboard with 3 seconds left on the shot clock for Vince Curran.
Eat your heart out, Elgin Baylor. How about Michael Jordan? Here's his hang time. Vince Curran's hang time. I love it. Boom. Herbie McGee, that great shooting coach at Textile, probably showed Vince Curran how to keep your hand in there, duck the 7-footer, and make the jumper.
A la George McGinnis, the Owls at 47%, the Quakers at 42, but Penn is still at 5, make that 8 more attempts than Temple. And Penn shows some pressure. And McMahon pickpockets Michael Harden.
Wow.
A career game being turned in early by Paul McMahon, the most improved player on the squad a year ago, at 6'4", playing down low. On defense, anyway. Chambers alone.
2 points. Unbelievable. Chambers stopped. Pretty good defense, but the Temple players just left him alone. He said, I'm 18 feet, why not? And he banged it home.
Still a box and one with Simon on Macon. Donald Hodge. Jerry Simon into the hands of Paul Chambers. 2:45 and counting.
Yeah,
the Quakers with the basketball.
Every shot now by both teams crucial. I don't know if that was a great shot by Hodge, having a 1-point lead with less than 2.5 go.
And Dwayne Coswell has disappeared offensively. Simon's thought about it, but a 7-footer's out on him, and Donald Hodge used some clock. Chambers a screen. Gives and gets with McMahon.
Well, they're using Curran as the big screen. There's Kilgore. He's got to come up and help out.
Curran's got the basketball with 8 on the shot clock. Jerry Simon sees it. Curran at the foul line. In and out. And Hassan Duncan is fouled out. At the 2:06 mark, an ill-advised over the back on Dwayne Coswell. And Hassan Duncan is gone. This is the 17th foul out, Eddie, of Hassan Duncan's career in 54 games.
But you saw a different Hassan Duncan tonight. He gave more minutes to the Quakers because he's in better shape. He played his heart out.
He will leave the basketball game with 6 points and 5 boards. Coming off a preseason filled with injury and the flu and all kinds of problems, Hassan gave it his all tonight. A 1-point game with Dwayne Coswell going to the foul line.
And this is a good move by Temple, putting the players back on the foul line. I mean, when you're only up 1 and Coswell on the line, you maybe get the long rebound. Forget the foul trouble at this point in the game.
Coswell 0 for 2 from the line tonight. Has only 1 for 3 make that. He has 3 points in the ball game, none in the second half. Has shot 1 for 8 from the floor and has been silent.
Big free throws.
Got the roll.
Well, that was a shooter's touch there. Nice soft touch on the front and hit the backboarding in.
Someone's always assigned to check out the shooter. Paul Chambers assigned to check out Dwayne Coswell. Comes up to around his armpit at best. And now after the first is made, John Chaney will pull them off.
Chambers better watch. He gets him by the knees. He'll be called bounty hunting.
Here's the second free throw for Dwayne Coswell. Perfect.
That's a nice shot by Dwayne Coswell. A 7-footer knocks both home.
You see the story inside 2 minutes now. And Ray Marshall, by the way, is the man that checked in for Hassan Dunphy. Simon's three. Off the heel, runs it down himself and brings it back out front. Stripped from behind. Kilgore gets it back to Chambers. Paul Chambers wanted the three. The entire Quaker bench wants the three, but only two. Paul Chambers.
He's just playing a terrific game. He's like the perfect point guard tonight. 130 under.
A one-point basketball game. And now it's the Owls holding it out front. And John Chaney will take a timeout. Who'da thunk it? With 1:18 remaining, we will keep it here. Smile on the face of John Chaney. He loves the competition.
Well, this kid from Episcopal High School from Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, just played the best game of his career. Harden almost gets it from behind, but he's confident and he shoots the jumper. He's made 6 points. He's done a good job dribbling. See, they're going for the steals, almost getting it, but Penn's just everywhere tonight. And again, good hard dribble. He sees Harden coming from behind and nails it. They had to play the perfect game. They almost have played the perfect game.
They're in single digits in turnovers with only 8 after averaging 18 a year ago with Frazier and Gilliams in your backcourt. Much more experience. 8 turnovers against this team. That's remarkable.
And we also talked earlier that Fran Dunphy, the coach of Penn, does not have Gilliams, does not have Scott Shaway, and Dana Watts. So 3 players are going to see a lot of action for the Quakers are not in the lineup. So you'd have to say a real gutsy effort by the Penn Quakers.
There's Franny and John Chaney. Fran said John welcomed him into the Big Five coaching fraternity, as did the rest of them. Now they're going toe-to-toe.
Well, if I'm Chaney, I got to go inside to the big guy. I mean, I bring more. They're
Which
playing
big
box,
guy?
so I don't care either one. They're going box and one on Macon, so you got to go opposite him. The shooter is probably Kilgore. Penn's going to try to dump down on both of them, so Kilgore's probably going to have a shot if he wants it.
Again, Dwayne Coswell, no field goals in the second half. Don Hodge with 11.
Penn is in the, Temple is in the 1-on-1 in the next foul. Do you go out and foul someone?
Not on this trip. Shot clock's already at 16. I'm not sure the Owls are aware of the shot clock. It's in single digits.
Still a box and one. Kilgore's going to get the shot.
Well, now we got 5 on the shot clock. 3 to Coswell, finally gets it off. It's off the side iron. And the Penn Quakers to the basketball with a 5-second differential.
They need a timeout.
And Brady's going to take a timeout. So Pennsylvania has got a chance to steal it. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I do not believe the Owls were aware of the shot clock.
No, at the timeout, they must not have told them that they only had 26, I think. And then they let it run it down. But, I mean, this is incredible as you see the brain trust of Penn. They got 41 seconds. There's 35, so there's a 6 seconds differential on the time clock and the game clock. Penn is down 1, which is, I thought last year, Penn's upset over Villanova might have been the biggest in the Big Five history. I may have to scratch that if Penn can get lucky here right tonight.
Well, that one, you know, there was such senior leadership on that Villanova club, and it came out so very flat on that evening. This one, it's so many young people. As we check the diagram from John Chaney.
Well, look what he's doing. Dunphy has all 3 guys. Dunphy has his 3 guards way out at half court. He's going to try to milk the 35-second clock he has, to milk it down and try to get even the last shot. And if he misses, they go hard to the boards and foul. If I'm in Dunphy's shoes right now, which I'm glad I'm not, I would go for the last shot against Temple. Down 1.
Pennsylvania with 2 timeouts remaining. The Temple Owls with 3.
But remember, Chaney Every time a timeout since the second half on his half court, he's tried to trap on the first pass. So let's see if John Chaney will sit back in the zone or try to trap and get a quick turnover from the Quakers. Wow.
Welcome to the Big Five. No trap.
Man-to-man.
Straight up.
Straight up man-to-man.
And Jerry Simons with Mark Macon, Paul McMahon with Mick Kilgore. Paul Chambers gets a screen.
2 timeouts left.
Almost loses the handle, takes it back. Got a seam.
I think Dunphy needs another timeout.
Shot clock's at 20, game clock at 24. Ray Marshall, Paul McMahon play catch. Shot clock's at 10. McMahon down the lane, throws it up wild. Out of bounds, off the hands of Mick Kilgore. Belongs to
Penn. He needs a timeout.
Fran Dunphy. So now the shot clock means nothing. The game clock is at 15. How about Fran Dunphy a chance to steal it?
How about the shot they got? They had a left-handed shot that it was almost there. Both 7-footers flying at it. Marshall couldn't grab the rebound. Here's McMahon. He's like playing out of his skull tonight. Going with the left hand. He's going to use it all the way. Watch the big guys go after him. Now Marshall's got a strong rebound. He can't bring it down. Good play by Kilgore, because if Marshall brings it down, he goes back with the 2 or he gets fouled.
And Paul McMahon will be kicking himself for the one he didn't make, but he has one more opportunity.
I don't know how I'm going to get pumped up for this next one, St. Joe Drexel. This is a wonderful game.
Again, the inexperience of the Temple Owls with so many new players on the floor. They have not played optimum John Chaney basketball, and the enthusiasm, the vibrancy of the Penn program now under Fran Dunphy really on display this evening.
Well, the whole thing now, you have the ball underneath your basket. Everyone has plays to get shots. Penn likes to get Jerry Simon off the screen for the baseline jumper. You know, maybe you run a play right away with 15, shoot it, and everybody hits the boards, because who cares on a fast break play? If you don't, Penn, I'm sure Temple and John Chaney's diagramming the play that they're going to try to run here and see what they got. But this is one big shot, as John Chaney saying, hands up.
Jerry Simons, your trigger man. He's got the basketball from Jerry Donahue now.
McMahon
gets it to Curran with Donald Hodge. He needs help. At 12, he takes a timeout.
Good move.
Franny can't believe it.
That's a good move. Vince Curran has the ball 40 feet from the basket. He's not going to put the ball on the ground. He doesn't want to get turnover. Heads up play by Vince Curran.
Well, they ran a spread, if you will. Everybody kind of fanned on out.
I think they're better off with the ball sideline out of bounds anyway. They are really having trouble getting it. Now, if I'm Temple and John Chaney, he's going man-to-man, a good move. I'd go man-to-man and try to really deny this pass. Have the big guy home so you don't get the easy, cheap basket for Penn, but really try to deny the pass and see if Penn has problems getting the ball inbounds.
Again, Jerry Simon triggered. You'd like to get the shot up with about 6 or 7 seconds remaining to allow offensive rebounding and or fouling position time.
It's amazing, though, that the penetration they have gotten against Temple's zone tonight, and even in the man-to-man. McMahon is not the quickest guy in the world with the basketball. He's making terrific penetration, as is Chambers, as is Jerry Simon. Something Temple's going to really work on, I'm sure, after these practices.
The Temple 5 is already out on the floor before the first whistle. Of course, there's 2 whistles now, the warning whistle, the real whistle. And believe it, with 11 seconds remaining, Temple leads Pennsylvania by a point. And the Quakers have the basketball.
The key
Simon will trigger.
Getting the ball in bounds. Let's see if he's man-to-man or he's zone. He's showing man-to-man. The key is to get the ball in bounds.
Screen for Chambers. It's Curran on the baseline. In trouble with 8 seconds left. No timeouts. Out of bounds from Michael Harden. Look at Fran Dunphy. See if he gets a...
No timeouts.
None at all.
Now it's desperation time. Good defense by Temple. Only 6 seconds. They got to get penetration here.
Curran. Going to put it on the floor. Oh no! Air ball. Ball game is over. And the Temple Owls have survived. A remarkable evening of Big 5 basketball begins with a 1-point Temple Owl victory.
There's John Chaney, said fantastic job to Franny Dunphy, and I'll echo it. What a magnificent job by the Penn staff. You have to give credit. Great defense by Temple at the end. They didn't get a good shot.
No, Vince Curran had one prayer answered moments ago, but not this time. John Chaney wins his 398th career game, and they don't come a whole lot tougher than this one at the Palestra. We'll come back and wrap it up in just a moment. In our exclusive coverage of Big 5 City Series basketball, the 15th ranked Temple Owls hold on to beat the Pennsylvania Quakers by a final score of 55-54. Our Budweiser player of the game tonight, Temple University's Mark Macon, who led all scorers with 21 points, knocked them all down the stretch when he had to. Mark Macon, our Budweiser player of the game here, filling the wing for a 7-foot lead guard named Donald Hodge. And Mark, watch his right leg slide on out, yet he still recovers, hangs together, and knocks it home. Mark Macon, our Budweiser player of the game with 21 points. He is standing by live with Eddie Stefanski. Eddie?
Mark, you came into the game as big favorites, and Penn just played very well. You surprised?
No, I'm not. I think Penn executed real well, and they got the shots they needed. We played defense poorly today. We have to go back to the gym and work harder.
Defensively in the first half, you sat in the zone. Did Coach Chaney ask you to come out and take the passing angles away a little bit more?
Well, no, he asked us to come out and pressure the ball. I think they were splitting and spreading us real well. And like I said, it was getting their shots off. So we had to come out and pressure the ball a little bit more. In the second half, we did that, and they still played well.
They played extremely well, and the rebounding, they stayed right with you on the boards. Before the game, I thought Hodge and Causwell and all you guys would just crush them on the basketball.
Well, yes, you can't think that anymore because of size now. They boxed out well. We just didn't have enough guys going to the boards today. But I think, Coach is going to be on us tomorrow about that, and we're just going to come back and play harder the next game.
How about the first game for Strickland and Hodge? Tough place to play first game?
Well, I think so, but I think that's behind them now. They came in here and they did their job. I think Donald did his job, but we still have to think about the team, and that's defense. We can't look at 2 or 3 players at a time. We got to look at the whole team.
Now you have a big contest. You go up to Syracuse. Hopefully you beat Arkansas State, and it looks like you're going to play Syracuse.
I hope so, but you never know. We can't say Syracuse is going to beat Virginia, and we can't say we're going to beat Arkansas State. We just got to come in and play hard.
Were you surprised when Donald Hodge's 7-footer got that long rebound and you filled the lane for him?
Yes, I wasn't surprised. Donald can handle the ball real well for a man his size, and I wasn't surprised at all that he passed it to me. He saw me coming and he passed it, and I hit the shot. And that's well. He does that well anyway.
Mark, all year long, if the other guys don't shoot the ball from the outside, they're going to play that box and one. What do you think about that?
Well, I know it's coming, but the guys are going to start shooting the ball. They know it's coming. I guess he's in there talking about it now.
Okay, Mark, best of luck. Good win. Okay, Mark Macon, our star of the game, and Larry, they just eked it out. The first Big 5 game, Temple gets it.
All right, good job, Eddie Stefanski. John Chaney gets win number 398. Our full night of college basketball action continues from the Palestra in just a moment.